John the Baptist asks an important question in today's gospel. He says, "Are you the one who is to come, or should we look for another?" And I think this question reveals a couple things about St. John the Baptist. The first is that he knows that God has made promises in the Old Testament to the people of Israel. He knows that they've promised the coming of the Messiah, and he's awaiting that Messiah. And the second thing it reveals is that John the Baptist has one loyalty in life. He has one goal, and he's seeking one person, the one who is to come. That's who St. John the Baptist is waiting for. And he's seeking after truth. He wants it himself, and he wants his disciples to know the truth. Is this the one who is to come? And as Christ says, he's not a reed blowing in the wind who changes with the swaying of public opinion. He's someone who wants to know the truth. He sought out the truth. He found the truth. And ultimately, he gave his life for the truth. This desire to know the truth and to conform our lives to the truth is practically gone in our culture today, in the modern world. It's been replaced by tolerance. Tolerance is the new fad. We should always be open and accepting of the beliefs of others, no matter what those beliefs happen to be. And certainly we should always treat people with dignity and respect, no matter what their beliefs are. But to be open and accepting of every single belief that's out there, no matter what the belief is, really avoids the most important question. And this is a question that people don't ask because the culture's so worried about being tolerant and being open to all sorts of different beliefs. People never ask whether a set of beliefs is true or whether it's false. And they don't ask whether a set of beliefs is good or whether it's destructive to the human person. And so people are no longer evaluating belief systems critically and studying them. And what's happened is this emphasis on tolerance has led to religious indifferentism. Because there are so many different religious beliefs and belief systems out there, people will say, well, it doesn't matter really what you believe. You can believe whatever you want. It's all good. They're all the same. They all lead to the same place. Whatever someone believes is okay. And so our modern culture has become completely indifferent to religious beliefs. But that religious indifferentism is very destructive to the human person. For a couple reasons. First, it's destructive to our intellect. God gave us an intellect so that we could seek the truth and come to know the truth and to think critically. If we use an example, if you go to a pharmacist and you have a prescription and the pharmacist says, well, I'll just pull some of these pills, some of these pills, some of these pills, here you go. Take whatever pills you want. Do we want that pharmacist, or do we want a pharmacist who's rooted in the truth and is going to give us the pills that the prescription says? I would want the pharmacist who gives the proper prescription. And if that's important with our physical health, how much more should that be important with our spiritual well-being? That we have a belief system that's actually rooted in the truth and is going to lead us in the right direction. But this religious indifferentism is very anti-intellectual. People are not thinking critically anymore and evaluating beliefs. And we have a responsibility to use the intellects that God gave us and to apply them above all to religion to determine where truth is and to always be seeking the truth. And the second reason why indifferentism is dangerous to the human person is because each one of us is created for a purpose. We have an ultimate end. We were created for union with God. And if we follow a false religion and a false set of teachings our entire life, that can send us in a very wrong direction. And we could find ourselves at the end of our lives standing before God having gone in the wrong direction our entire lives and never once turning towards God and seeking the truth. If you think about someone, for example, who's following Buddhism, Buddhism is a path of self-annihilation. They seek to attain nirvana by annihilating themselves. If someone spent their entire life trying to annihilate themselves, then they haven't been growing closer towards God and been going the right direction. So this religious indifferentism is very destructive for us because it denies our intellect and our critical thinking abilities, and it can lead us on the wrong direction that turns us away from our ultimate end. And so I encourage each one of us not to be indifferent to the truth, but to always seek the truth. And we shouldn't accept a religion just because the priest says so, or just because this is what our parents taught us. That's not a good enough answer. The only ultimate reason why we should accept a set of religious beliefs is because it's true, and we've come to see that it's true. And it's important for each one of us to internalize and to answer that question for ourselves. And when we look at Jesus Christ and John the Baptist in today's gospel, John asked the question, are you the one who is to come, or should we seek another? He wants to know the truth. And the answer that Jesus gives is a very powerful one. He says, he doesn't give a yes or no answer, because he doesn't want them just to accept it on his authority. Because anyone could come along claiming to be the Messiah. Anyone could claim to have a new religion. And people do that all the time. And Jesus doesn't want us following every new person who comes along saying they have a new religion. So the answer that Jesus gives, he says, look around you. The blind see, the lame walk, and the deaf hear. Go tell John what you have seen. And why is this an important answer? Because he's referencing Isaiah 35. That's our first reading today. And that was a prophecy, not just of the coming Messiah, but it was a prophecy from Isaiah that God himself would come and visit his people. The first reading says, here is your God. And the signs that are going to accompany that, Isaiah says, the eyes of the blind will be opened, the ears of the deaf will be cleared, and the lame will leap. And so Jesus points back to this prophecy, and he says, this is what Isaiah prophesied, and look around, and you can see with your own eyes what's happening. And you can come to see for yourself where the truth is. And so what's happening here is, number one, we see that Isaiah's prophecy, which is a very unlikely prophecy, that God would come to visit his people and that the eyes of the blind would be open, it comes to pass. And so what that teaches us is that Isaiah was able to see and accurately predict the future. And that's not a normal human ability. That is a supernatural ability. And so what this is revealing is the divine authorship of Scripture. And it also reveals that Jesus Christ is the one who fulfills that. And so it proves both the divine origin of Scripture and of Isaiah's prophecies, and also that Jesus Christ is the one who fulfills them. And so Jesus doesn't want them just to take his word, hey, I'm the Messiah, I'm God. He wants them to see and to come to believe it for themselves. And that's the challenge for each one of us today. To look at this and to recognize that there is only one religion in the entire world that we can verify historically to be true. And that is Christianity. Because we can see things like this, the reality of the prophecies that are truly fulfilled in real history. And Jesus Christ founded one church for his people. And so as we reflect upon the question of John the Baptist today and how he seeks the truth, it's important for us not to fall into the religious indifferentism of the day, but like John the Baptist, to seek the one who is to come. And for each one of us to be able to answer that question for ourselves and to come to conviction ourselves. And so I ask each one of us, is Jesus Christ the one who is to come? Or should we look for another?